Today on Beyond the Image, I'm sitting down with Sanaa, Compliance Officer for Steinberg Diagnostic Medical Imaging. We're going to talk about HIPAA compliance and why keeping patient information secure is so important. Welcome, Sanaa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me. We're going to start with your journey at SDMI. Tell us how you started and how you worked your way to Compliance Officer.
So 28 years ago, I came in and interviewed with the founder, Leon Steinberg, and our interview went this: I like you, you stay. I don't like you, don't stay. I feel great. And so I was his assistant at the time. We were one location on Maryland Parkway, and we were doing, a handful of patients. And from there, as the business grew, I became office manager. And then from there, I couldn't tell you the next title. And then in 2003, HIPAA came about, and they said, hey, you seem like someone that would want to do this. And I'll go, no, I don't want to do it. And so then the law came out. I went to school and got hooked. And in 2003, I started became the privacy officer, because you had a privacy and a security officer. And years from there, and it came about, and of course HIPAA became really huge, and I became the compliance officer maybe 12 years ago.
And what does that mean, compliance officer? What kind of schooling did you have to go through to earn that title?
So I went to a lot of HIPAA classes. Obviously, in the beginning, no one knew what HIPAA was, but HIPAA was really big as far as billing is concerned. No one knew it, but for privacy and security, the focus was in 2003. So, of course, like many others, I went to school. I went to a lot of seminars and things like that and got certification. And from there, I got certification in healthcare compliance. A few years later, privacy was really big, so I got a certification in privacy compliance. And then, of course, nowadays security is big, so I got a certification in security compliance and cybersecurity compliance.
So tell us the difference between privacy and security.
Privacy is what you, the patient, your information, what you give us, what we house, what we take from you, what we give out, what we tell other people. It is literally your entire medical record is what privacy entails. It protects you as the patient so that others don't take your identity, essentially.
And then what is security?
Security is what houses your information. So the computers that employees use, the EMRs that we put your information in, all the external hardware that is protecting that information that we took in from you.
And so those HIPAA laws went into place in 2003. Have they stayed the same for the last 20 years, or do they change regularly?
No, privacy started in 2003. 2005, the HIPAA security rule came out. And then in 2008, the omnibus rule came out, and it changed. It kind of hardened a lot of things. And then in 2013, even more so, the information started changing as things started happening. And, of course, when OCR gets complaints and things like that, they start changing laws and everything like that. So in 2013 was probably the biggest change to the privacy and security rule. Just a tip that this year, the privacy and security rule is slated to change again to make it more robust for patients.
And how do you keep up with all of that?
I read a lot. Unfortunately, every single day I'm reading law after law after law. I have a compliance attorney that I talk to once a month, and we kind of collaborate and tell me what's in the know and what I need to focus on and keep about. So mine is just mainly a lot of reading of regulatories, law that comes out, and things like that.
Tell patients what are some of the steps that SDMI takes to make sure that their information is secure.
SDMI is very big on keeping the confidentiality of patients, so we have a lot of things in place. You, the patient, when you come in, we focus on you, the patient. When we take your information, it's just you. We don't do it in a crowd-like area. Even if you, the patient, decide you want to talk, we still take you to the side and identify you. We make sure we get not just your name, but we get other identifiers before we even remotely go into your account. When we are in your account, we again identify you, at least with 4 identifiers, to make sure you are the correct person, because there's a lot of names that are similar. And even when you get taken to the back, you are identified again. Before you're getting put on for your scan, you're identified again. And then in the back end, the person at the front desk or the tech or anybody for that matter is identifying what is on the screen and what is they are inputting before anything is done with the patient.
So patients can be a little frustrated at times because the staff is constantly asking them who they are, what their date of birth is, and all of those identifiers, but that's really all put in place for their safety and their security.
Correct. A lot of times we do get complaints that you guys do ask a lot of questions, but our stock answer, and I try to tell staff, is to say this is for your protection of your identity and the privacy of your information, and we want to make sure that everything that we keep amongst both of us is confidential.
And that comes down to even just the ID that you have to present at the front desk. That can't just be a Costco card with your picture on it.
Correct. We are very up on taking government IDs. Obviously, there's a lot of identity theft right now. There's a lot of theft in general. So we want to make sure that what the patient is bringing in is valid. Anyone can get a Costco card. Anyone can get a LVAC card, etc. So we want to make sure that we are talking to the person that should be for the sake of their financial and for their health.
And what does SDMI do on the security side to make sure that systems are protected and are not being hacked into to keep that patient information safe?
We have a small security team, but we do have a security team. We have an internal IT with 11 people that constantly watching the systems. We have an endpoint security system that's on all of our systems that we have, and we monitor it consistently. We have once a week, people take turns and they are up at 3 a.m. to check that the servers are working, that the security's in place, that nothing's been done. We have a lot of alerts that we all get, that we know when things go down. We have a lot of, obviously, security on the computers that patients use and or employees use. And so it's a hassle and they don't like it, but we do a lot. We have passwords galore, and that kind of thing.
What are some tips that you could give to patients on how to better protect their identity, either in a healthcare setting or either just personally?
I would say the biggest thing right now, because everyone is getting hacked or everyone is taking identities, is to beware of who you're giving your information to, whether you think it is your bank on the other end or whether you think it's, I don't know, your Costco membership calling you, that kind of thing. Be wary of who you're sharing information. I know passwords are everyone's headache, but right now, a 12 or more character password is going to take years to hack, and instead of the little 8-character or 6-character. So I would say, as annoying as it is, make your password longer. Don't make it something easy for you yourself to remember. I even get frustrated sometimes because I forget my passwords, but you want to protect yourself online first, and then be wary of who you're giving information to.
There's now security has, with the way the world is, it's not just security from a computer standpoint. You're doing security in facilities, and there's trainings on threats and potential instances. Can you give the viewers an idea of the other types of security that SDMI plans for and trains for?
Yes. So the other security we have is physical security. So one of our initiatives actually right now is to make sure the clinics are safe. So we've been training employees on what to do in certain scenarios. I know it's going to sound harsh, but even in active shooter, we tell them how to deal with a scenario in that. We tell them, we give them, tips on what they should do if someone irate comes in, and where they should go, or where a safe place is. When we train security, we train not just for SDMI, but we give them the tips on how they should do it outside of SDMI, because our motto is if you do it outside of SDMI, you're going to do it within SDMI. So physical security is big right now. We are going to train. We have our areas locked down. They don't like that either, right? I mean, who does like that? But that is one of the things. Our servers, they are all locked down. We make sure we have backups everywhere, even not on site. So we take that very seriously.
What is one of the most challenging parts of your job?
The most challenging parts are humans. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people are trusting, and I don't think that's a bad thing. When I train, tell them I don't trust anyone, and I know that's a joke, but I mean, you have to take that mindset that you can't trust another person, because at the end of the day, people want what others have, right? So I tell them, please do what you feel as a patient that you would want. But I believe it's humans, because again, we get comfortable. We may not be trusting in the beginning, but then of course that person is nice, or that person that came in every day brought me donuts, that kind of thing. So we relax. And then everything that we may train goes out the door. Or we'll get too busy, and then it's just something that you just want to just take care of it, in the rush of society right now, that we just take for granted what we have.
So SDMI's mission is an exceptional patient experience. And a lot of people would think that that is the interactions with people in the organization, the face-to-face, right? But how does the security and the HIPAA compliance really feed into that mission?
Well, I can tell you that HIPAA compliance and the security really that is our same mission, that we want to take care of the patient. We want to protect you, the patient, no matter who the patient is, whether it is an employee, whether it's someone of known, or if it's just your average person coming in to SDMI. We put in those places so that way those protections that you may not want to do, we do. And we want to make sure that when you come in, you trust us. You trust that we are taking that information and we're not going to do anything with it. I put a lot of things in place that kind of seamlessly goes with how we take the patient in, how we register the patient and scan the patient. So it's not such a impact on them that, oh gosh, what is this extra things you're doing? But we want to make sure that they feel that when they come in the doors of SDMI, that SDMI cares about them enough to keep that information secure, keep that information private, and we're just not lollygagging and giving it out to the world.
So as a compliance officer, you're really touching every department within the organization. Can you give us some examples of how you're collaborating with other departments?
Yes. So the big one, people will not think, we have a monthly security meeting with maintenance, and no one would ever think that. And they'd be like, why? What does maintenance got to do anything? But think about it. Who goes into the offices? Who knows the offices more than anything, right? So we have security meetings with literally every department head to empower them so that they are security as well. And they can give us insight, because who knows better than the person doing the job, right? And so we give the ideas, and we allow the other departments to give us their input so we can put things in place, and they are comfortable in being in charge of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, how have you seen over the years, right? You've been with SDMI for a long time. How have you seen this really evolve and change since this started in the early 2000s?
Big, really big, because we knew everyone's name in town, or we knew who came in. We would scream each other patient information over the wall, right? We would run down and throw paperwork in our car, and we'd be the couriers, come into the buildings, not really care that things are out and all that stuff. But as things evolved, and as society and just everything, we just got a little tighter. We still scream over the halls, right? But we just don't scream patient information and things like that. We all became cognizant of what's going on. We all became more educated, I guess I want to say. And, not as educated as maybe but we all see what's going on in the news and we all take a little bit. So the harmony within SDMI, I think we all work together and we all have that same mindset.
How do you think healthcare in general has changed over the years?
It's become very busy, obviously. Unfortunately, so many people are reliant on healthcare, but it's become a target big time. So we are, for everyone, the number one target right now for the ransomware gangs that are out, whether United States or any other country for that matter. So healthcare has become more stressful in the sense of it's going away from patient care to patient, I don't even know the word, taking responsibility of the patient and their information. The scans and or anything they may do in the hospital is probably a lot easier now than the back end of taking care of a patient.
So patient safety, patient protection is really beyond them being in a clinic, whether it's SDMI or a hospital or a doctor's office. There's a lot more to it now.
Yep. We collaborate every month with FBI and all the hospitals and everything here each month. And to be honest with you, we never talk about the patient care part of it. We always talk about the patient security and the patient privacy and what we need to do as owners of the patient records on how to get better. And we never talk about the actual, how many patients are you doing? Or, is your hospital busy? Or is your ER? We don't even talk about that anymore. It's more that back end, what are we doing to protect our environment and the people that come see us?
What about from the employee standpoint? Is there rules and regulations on what they can do with social media when it comes to their job at SDMI?
Yes, we have obviously many policies. We encourage you to go to social media, but when it comes to any SDMI proprietary information or any patient information, we don't allow the employee to share any information on our behalf. We have social media obviously for the company, and we do a good job about putting the information out that we would like everyone to know. But as far as staff is concerned, we don't allow it. We don't discourage them from being there, but we do not encourage them to share a little story. I can share with you as a staff member was brand new, not thinking anything. She takes a picture of the front desk sign-in sheet when we had them and goes, "Look how busy I am. This place is really busy. I just started." And we were like, "Oh no, oh no," of course. And we caught it really quickly and deleted it. And that was a training moment for all staff, because people just don't realize, or, it's your birthday and all of a sudden you're around the scanner and you're taking a picture, but then what's behind you is the patient's work list, So again, we encourage them to do social media, but we just don't encourage it within our clinics and with our information.
Sure. And then anytime you see anything on SDMI social media where a patient is highlighted, those patients are required to sign some kind of release information.
Correct. We want to, number one is privacy. So if we share anything with the patient, do we have them sign releases? Yes. Mm-hmm. And whether it's a video or even a simple photo at a health fair, if we're going to utilize it in any way. And people might go, well, it's just a picture, but someone will recognize someone, obviously,
sure.
Right? And we don't want to be the one that sends out to the world, look, this person came to SDMI.
And that goes for even just, a patient makes a comment on Yelp and SDMI wants to repost and reshare that comment to their social media or to their website. We're going to take and anonymize that comment, even if the patient initiates disclosing their information.
Correct, because the onus is still on us. At the end of the day, we are what the feds call the covered entity, and we have to protect the patient information no matter what conversation they may have. And yes, a lot of people will say, just talk to me here. But SDMI does a great job on rerouting that conversation into a private conversation outside of the world to see.
What about email? Everybody has email. It's so easy to snap a photo of something on your phone and then email it over to SDMI or email it over to your doctor's office. How does SDMI make sure that that information is transmitted securely?
So SDMI has a email encryption system, and what we do is there's a way to secure it in regular email, and then it just takes a login. So then it is a secure login where you can get that information and we can talk back and forth. People don't understand is once you email, whether it is a internal exchange email like we have at SDMI or an external, the Gmails and all that, once you put something on the World Wide Web, it is on the World Wide Web. Once you hit delete, it is not deleted, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Talk to me a little bit about SDMI as an organization, and what do you think has been the biggest impact on you working at SDMI?
It's funny, I just told this to an employee wanting to come here the other day. We were interviewing, and I said, why do we stay somewhere so long? You know, there's so many people that you don't see that often, that people stay at a job. And it's number one, the people. Their people care. The owner, Dr. David Steinberg, Leon Steinberg's son, cares. He's so benevolent, and we take on that same benevolence. We care about other people. And yes, will you get along with your neighbor? Probably not. But at the end of the day, our motto is do the right thing, and then you are good. So I like that I can trust an environment that I'm in. It's like family to me. It's like it's family outside of here, but when you're here, you're comfortable that someone's not out to get you and all that stuff. But it's how they want you to grow. They've taught me so much here. We share, and we share amongst each other. We're not the kind that's like, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. We are so communicative amongst each other and want each other to grow. And I think that's why I stay here, because whether I'm at my peak and this is where I'm going to be at SDMI, I'm still growing, and they still encourage growing. They encourage education, whatever you may need. Steinberg goes out of its way to take care of its staff.
What do you think SDMI's impact has been on Las Vegas as a community?
Big. If you're in Las Vegas and you don't know Steinberg Diagnostics, I mean, you must be in a hole, but Steinberg does so much outreach. We take care of so many people, and yes, you're coming here because you're sick, or you're not sick, you just want to find something, you're going to have surgery. Who knows why you come to us? But I believe that our name is, how do I put it, so good in the community that we do a lot of good. Okay, we want to make sure that everyone that comes to Steinberg realizes this is why I came to Steinberg. This is why they're here in town. When we go to events, we want to make sure that they feel that same benevolence and that same caring that we would want to give in every clinic.
So you said that SDMI supports staff with education and growing and moving up within the community. What about outside for extracurricular activities? And I bring that up for you specifically because you have a activity and a passion that started with an SDMI sponsored event that has grown into something that is much bigger than that. And there's a lot of support from SDMI. So can you tell the viewers kind of that journey for you?
Yes. In 2008, SDMI in October is very, very big on breast cancer and bringing that to light. And in 2008, there used to be what they call the Rose Regatta, and it is a dragon boat race. And for those that don't know, a dragon boat is a big canoe that holds 20 people. And it was just an exhibition race to bring awareness to breast cancer. The dragon boat was started for breast cancer for those men or women that could not exercise. The dragon boat was their outlet to be able to exercise, and they felt like athletes. So in 2008, we entered in that, and we won. We came first, yay, SDMI. And then we got hooked, so SDMI would enter it for the next few years, and each year our goal was to win, but of course to bring light to breast cancer. So then I got hooked and joined an all-women's team and started traveling with the Dragon Boat. And from there, I was at one race and all of a sudden saw this team, and I was standing watching a race, and I was like, wow, who is that? And they go, that's Team USA. And I go, yes, that's what I want. I want to be at that level. And from there, I took the little Dragon Boat race that SDMI did and moved up and tried out and failed the first time. And then I told myself, I will not fail again. I will be in Team USA. And kept going and made Team USA. Steinberg was so proud of me that all along the way, they encouraged me to do it. They would tell me to go do the Dragon Boat. Everyone stood behind me, and they sponsored me, and off I went to Thailand to represent the United States.
That's amazing.
That was my first encounter. I was so proud and humbled that company was so proud of me. I realized that I'm so close to other people here, but they were so proud of me, and the backing was my triumph. Not the fact that I made Team USA, the fact that everyone was so proud. And that's all they wanted, that was one of them went to that caliber. And even to this day, Dr. Steinberg, whenever he sees me, he's like, you amaze me. I'm so proud of you. And it brings me to tears every single time.
Yeah, it's a true testament to who SDMI is as an organization. It's really a family and not just a bunch of people who work here.
Yep. So this year I am representing the U.S. again in Hawaii for the World Championship Splits.
It's amazing. So one final question for you, which is, what would your younger self be most surprised by or most proud of?
My younger self would be so surprised that I am in the medical field. I went to actual college for computer science engineering, and I did none of that. So, that was my school experience. So the fact that I even migrated into medical is what's surprising to me. But am I regretful? No. I think the path that I took and led me to SDMI was what it's supposed to be, and I think my accomplishments here is what I'm most proud of.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.